In 1996, Tupac Shakur was shot and killed, allegedly. JonBenet Ramsey was murdered in the basement of her own home in Colorado, allegedly. And they caught the Unabomber, allegedly. One thing's a fact, though. Line 6 produced the very first digital modeling amp. We're gonna take a time trip and we're gonna get a history lesson together today, right here on Geargasms. Hi everybody, welcome to Geargasms. I'm your host, Alan Barnes. Today we're going to party like it's 1996. That's right, that's the year that the Line 6 Axsys212 came out. That was the world's first digital modeling amplifier. I'm going to tell you all about the Line 6 AX2 in just a minute, but first, if you're new to the channel, I'd like to ask you to like and subscribe. This channel is kind of like Jimmy Fallon. Yeah, he's done a few things that are funny over the years here and there, but for the most part, he laughs at his own shit way more than the rest of us do. Celebrate mediocrity. But it is still a beast. There's a couple of tones on here that if I just want to plug and play and rock out with a killer lead tone, I still go to this thing quite often. All right, now I'm putting my old glasses on because it's story time. I want to just just for perspective, give you some of the things that were going on in 1996. Dolly the clone, the sheep, the very first sheep clone in 1996. A couple other awful pop culture things from 1996, the Macarena, Tickle Me Elmo, Beanie Babies. Bill Clinton was secretly dipping his cigar into that porcine, raven-haired intern. And I was still somewhat freshly divorced, working 4 jobs, trying not to lose my home. I feel compelled to point out that I have vintage 1996 regalia, a hooded flannel. I got my 1996 Epiphone Les Paul. I actually got this not too long after I got the amp. If you'll notice from the front panel right away, some oddities compared to today's amps. Of course, we got user presets. You can go bank up, bank down, but you have a guitar level input, and you also have aux. There's an aux input. We'll get back to that. But that guitar level input, what's that about? Let me hit a little chord here and let's watch that light. See, just barely when I really pounded it, you saw the peak light come on. Digital clipping is super no bueno. So that's kind of where you want to keep it. And I know you're thinking, well, they don't do that with amps now, digital modeling amps. But we still do this with our interfaces. We still have to set digital levels. So you set that guitar level input. 128 presets. Wow, in 1996. All the digital modeling came after it. People get just so exaggerated and downright stupid with presets, including Line 6. But this bad boy had some really, really solid, usable musical presets. To wit, this here's Fender Bassman. We'll give it to you in the middle.
Ooh, you suck!
Now that is not a tone I was at all interested in 1996, so I didn't spend a whole lot of time there, but that is the Bassman clean, the Fender Bassman, but you could go right on up, bank to bank. You go black panel Fender to the Fender 64 Deluxe. And a lot of the things that people complained about when this first came out, and oh, it's not a real digital amp, it doesn't clean up with volume. Let's find out if they're right. See, it responded to my tune bends correctly. No, it's not a tube amp. It's not going to give you that feel. But 1996. The architecture of this thing was kind of like, say, it was preset driven. And that is something that's still with us today. That same thought of 4 presets across, call it like a spreadsheet, 4 columns, and then however many rows. Now, I talked a minute ago about the aux in. That was kind of, I think, you could plug a microphone in there. You can do a little bit of EQ games with the aux in. So anyway, that's kind of this first piece. And if you were dumb, kind of like me, you spent all your time there. I did have a floorboard for this. All right, so that's kind of the input section of this. Pretty super simple. And again, so many presets. I'll give you a taste of what that's like, go through some of them. The first preset you come to is the jazz chorus clean, and it's... Oh, that 80s sound, and right away you're like, man, I got me a jazz chorus. Oh, I got me a jazz chorus. Auto volume. Then you would get weird things. Blackface twin. Or with a rat. One of the tones that I just loved in this, and I'd never actually even heard of the amp or played one, was the Matchless Chieftain. Oh, didn't even know what Class A meant back then. Oh, kind of too rocky, maybe? Am I right? And they would often give you variations with different settings along that bank. It might be Matchless Chieftain, and you get like 4 flavors of it. So then you go up and you get into the British Class A, like a Vox AC30 Top of Boost. And again, you get these like super really like mid-gain kind of vintage tones out of this. And again, at the time I didn't really like them, but this is the JTM 45. 1996 was the year that they introduced Red Bull. We're all better off for that. Did you know that in 1996, you didn't even have to show an ID to board a plane? Oh my God, I want to go back and do it all over, but I can't go back, I know. All right, I took a quick break, regrouped, smoked some 1996 era Gons. I think they called it the Chronic back then. And I was like, guys, all right, let's just focus. I'm gonna just breeze through some of these presets just so we can ooh and ah for a minute. And then we're gonna get into some more of the nitty gritty, the time travel stuff. This is a history lesson. So, you know, like say, we were talking before you get into the Marshall stuff. A little bit of plexi. Marshall JCM. Now, if you notice that between the presets, there's a big volume difference. That's something that they still just haven't figured out. You can kind of fix it with channel volume and resave it, but it was kind of a bummer, and it's still a bummer today. Come on! Things they have still not figured out or fixed is that and Who Killed John Benet Ramsey. Oh. So you can fix it. So you could do that without like overall affecting like adding more drive to it. And if you notice on the display there, it changed to E. That means as soon as you touch anything, you've edited it and it lets you know. And then you could either save it or you can just bail on it by going back to the previous tone and coming back in. I want to stop and point out something there real quick. Just like a lot of these systems today, the Katana does it. Over there you can't see it. The Line 6 stuff still does it. The value of any of your settings in there is digital in the background. It may not necessarily reflect where the knob is on the front panel. So what you have to do is, like, if this is where your treble is and it's really set at like 2 o'clock and you want to turn it up, it ain't going to increase till you get past 2 o'clock. Or conversely, if you want to turn it down from 2 o'clock, you have to turn this knob up past 2 o'clock to kind of catch it and then bring it back down. They've not fixed that yet either. This was always one of my favorites. It was wide. It may not come across with the single mic. Just a subtle amount of modulation in there. So good, good, good. Now we're gonna get one of my favorites. We get into the Mesa stuff. This amp started my lifelong love with Mesa Boogie amps. I didn't know if it was really legit and it sounded like a Mesa Boogie, but when I heard it, I was like, oh my goodness. It's Mesa Boogie Mark II C++. Oh yeah, very 1990s, maybe 80s. This was the so-called Santana tone. Me no gusta. That's the Mesa Boogie peeps. Then you got... Now that is my go-to Mesa Boogie lead tone. God, I love it. It makes me sound decent. In case you're wondering, it accurately reproduces my string noise. That's fucking crazy. That is a lot of sustain. '96 was the year that the White Stripes came out. Jack and Meg White tried to tell everybody they were brother and sister when they were, in fact, secretly married. Kind of disturbing, kind of hot at the same time. 26 years later, Sorry, Meg.
It's Britney, bitch.
Minimum wage was $4.75 an hour. All right, we're at the museum. We're at the Rock and Roll Amp Museum, the first digital modeler. Pretend I'm your docent. And again, I'm just gonna point out a couple of things that were so far ahead of its time for back then. 19 amp models, right off the bat, covering everything from jazz to British, 12 different variations of dirt boxes. You had overdrive, distortion, fuzz, and an octave type drive. A couple different wah types, wah pedal, auto wah, rando wah, sample and hold. Delays, look dudes, you had mono, stereo, ping pong, multi-tap, and then you had tape echo. Chorus flange, phase, rotary, vibrato, and frequency mod. Reverb type, positive grid, take note, there is a spring reverb on an amp that was built in 1996. And y'all can't put one in a Spark. Come on. You got dark room, bright room, dark hall, and bright hall. And of course, really super advanced for back then, because all y'all still with your cab sims and your IRs, this bad boy had 5 different cab types. So yeah, this thing in 1996 had a lot of different features that we still see today. A lot of the layout, a lot of the same sort of intuitive now, certainly not intuitive then, but it's super intuitive now. Way to navigate the menus, no screens, just straight up old school matrix, like a matrix switch. Everything right on the front panel in case you lost the manual, including the signal flow. Come on. I'll show you a couple cool more presets and then we'll move on. I know you guys are probably getting tired of this. This is supposedly the Soldano. You Soldano experts, can you hear it? Now this is a Soldano lead. Let's see if you find it, if you like it better than the Mesa Boogie. go back to the other one real quick. That was the Mesa Soldano. You say what you want, but I think they nailed that one. All right, so let's go on into some stupid shit. Dumble, supposedly. This is a Dumble. Even back then, they tried to make a Dumble. My 1996 self says, oh my God, I hate that tone, it sucks. Oh. My 2022 self says, yeah, that's kind of decent. I've owned 3 or 4 Dumbles and that's close.
Nice.
And one thing that was really cool for 1996 was layer. And this added a clean and a dirty tone. Let's see if we can hear it. Did you like that layer? Let's make it a little more obvious. They do have a Boston tone. Let's go to it. Why not? See if it's realistic. Oh, it's all the way down there at 32. Come on, the very last preset. That was never a favorite. But you kind of get the point of the Marshall JCM with a tape echo. And for every one of these, there was a specific purpose for it. They're telling you in the preset name, this is this with this. And there's just some such random odd ones here. Again, 1996. Supposedly Marshall Plexi with the Octavia. This was a fun one. And of course they did the Eddie tone, and this was allegedly the Brown sound. And of course, they had the 5150 sound, allegedly. Allegedly. The top leading men, George Clooney and Tom Cruise. Not much has changed there. Top baby names of 1996, Emily, Jessica, Ashley, Sarah, and Samantha. All of you ladies are at least 26 by now. Hit me up.
This is your mom.
Okay, so that was sort of, you know, the preset experience back in 1996. Now, let's just say, you know, you liked some of those sounds, but you didn't really, you wanted to jack it around a little bit. You would have to get into the menu. Now, even for back then, getting in the menu was super easy. But what gets more interesting is if, like, you like this tone, but you can't get what you want out of these knobs.
That's what she said.
So you're like, okay, that's all I can do. Now you got to get into the unfun part. This first row is for the aux channel. Then the next row is your comps. Each row has an alternate, and you select it with the button. You hit the button once. I don't know if you can see that light. You're in the top. Second one, you're in the second row. Like 10 rows of stuff that you can mess with. Now right here where it says chorus and chorus type, it's using chorus as a catch-all for all modulations. And once you're on a row, you probably, again, you can't really see it, these knobs correspond to things here. This is time, speed, depth, chorus, feedback. We put chorus in. But it's not there yet. Why? Because we haven't selected anything. So the first thing you do is do chorus type. If we come over here, we see the chorus types that we got. The first one is chorus. So let's see what we get on here. Nope, 6, 5. See how the values are changing? We want number 1. We got that chorus. It's like, oh, it's not fast enough for me. Let's check the speed. Let's speed it up. You're like, okay, I like that. We're getting there. We're getting there. What's next? The depth. Take the whole thing up. It will let you make ugly noises with it, and that's actually kind of fun. All right, so let's change chorus types. The second chorus type is flanger. Flanger. The third kind is phase. What is that? That is frequency mod. You're like, man, that was an experiment gone wrong. I want to turn the damn thing off. Right here on that last row, they give you the opportunity to turn effects on and off, even though when you have them set up. So let's go back there and grab that chorus again. We'll just put something stupid on it. And then we like it, and we just want to bring it in and out. We go down here, ga 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 ga, to the effects on and off, and then we can turn it off. Let's see what happens. Turn it back on. All right, let me try turning the distortion box on and off. Oh, now we're in a little something, ain't we? And you're like, okay, I kind of dig that. I kind of like that distortion box, but I don't really like the character of it. Let's go back up to where them dirt pedals are. Where are the dirt pedals? Where are the dirts? It's here with the comp and pedals. So you can just cycle through them all. Well, what did we learn today? We learned that all the way back in 1996, Line 6 really had put a lot of thought into creating the very first modeler that set the stage and basically the paradigm for all modelers to follow. We also learned that a lot of the features, a lot of the navigation concepts of going through the menus and grabbing values with the knobs in order to change them still exist today in today's modelers. And finally, we learned that in the year of our Lord, 1996, Line 6 managed to figure out how to make a decent spring reverb and put it in a digital amp. Positive Grid, I'm talking to you.
Loser!
As always, I thank you for the time that you spend with the channel. Please don't forget to hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, tell some of your ratty ass friends about Geargasms. We all know that you've got them. You can buy some merch if you want to help support this dying channel. Very few of you have, but I promise if you buy something, take a picture of yourself wearing it, and I promise to make you YouTube famous. Whatever you do in the next 7 days, don't tell Morrissey about it. He creeps out the ladies. Who am I kidding? Morrissey creeps out everybody. But play more guitar, watch less YouTube. Keep coming back here week after week for more Geargasms.